In this episode of our Best of season, we are exploring Midwest meat. I'm Cat Neville, and this is Feast TV. In this episode of our Best of season, I went back through the archives and I pulled some of my favorite meaty segments to share with you. And throughout the entire half hour, I'm going to be making this super simple but really flavorful pork grain bowl. Grain bowls, of course, are very popular, and I think for good reason. They are wonderful blank canvases that have really healthy whole grains as their base. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a lot of flavor into what is going to end up being this almost bibimbap style bowl with soft cooked eggs, pork tenderloin, baby kale, shiitake mushrooms, and onions. It's going to be really delicious, and you're going to see super easy. So before we get started, let's head to Buttonwood Farms. This is a pasture-raised chicken and turkey operation. Check it out.
I'm Matt Tiefenbrunn, the owner of Buttonwood Farm, and these are my turkeys. I grew up in Shrewsbury, right next to Webster Groves in St. Louis. Ever since I was in first, second grade, I always wanted to be a cowboy or a farmer or something. I'd wear my cowboy boots to first grade. I had my little farm board with my little tractors and I'd drive them all around. Isn't that adorable? When we started high school, everybody wanted new cars and fancy this, and all I wanted was a little calf and an old truck. So I got a all-black calf that we named Snowball and a 1952 Chevy pickup that I drove around, and I was in heaven. I met Eleanor when I was a sophomore in high school, and I started going out to their farm. We got married and bought a farm in 2010 and started raising our pastured poultry. We have chickens and turkeys. When we started here, I didn't know of anybody regionally around here that did pastured chickens or turkeys. We started doing them, and I did enough in the summertime that I could freeze enough for wintertime and keep people going year-round, and that's kind of what I've prided myself in, and I've always had enough. These are broad-breasted white turkeys, and the toms will puff all up trying to impress the hens. Here's a hen and here's a tom. Hen, tom. These turkeys will be approximately 18 weeks old at Thanksgiving, and the hens will weigh about 18, 19 pounds, and toms will weigh 22 to 24. And they're eating about a pound of feed a day, and there's about 1,100 birds out here. So we go through about 6,000 pounds of feed in a week right now, and it'll get up to 8,000 pounds of feed in a week. They'll gain 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds a week right now. They're gonna keep putting the weight on.
There's one that's putting on the Ritz. He's being all
He
foxy.
thinks he's pretty tough.
Yeah, he does.
I like turkeys because you can range them like this and they will eat everything that's out there. They'll eat all the grass, they'll eat the bugs, and they also herd. So if I need to move them, I can move them. A chicken, if I want to move them from one place to another, it's not going to move. It'll come right back at me and keep going under my legs until I get really frustrated and give up. And they're just, I don't know, I like them a little bit better. But they're very, very curious birds. And they'll peck at everything. And they're really funny. They're entertaining, yeah. And they'll change colors with the moods that they're in. Like we had a little chick get out a couple days ago, and it was running through them, and the turkeys would freak out and run all around it. They were so scared. And the turkeys' faces were all different colors because they didn't know what was going on. It was kind of funny. That one little chick, he was 2 days old, scared everybody. These are Cornish cross broilers, meat chickens. I brood them in here, so I raise them from day old or about 2 days old to 7.5 weeks, and then they're ready for processing. The birds over here are a week old. These are 2 weeks old, and those back there are 3 weeks old. And then next Friday, they will go out on range and then spend the last 4 weeks of their life out in the grass. But I need to keep them inside to keep them warm and keep the predators away from them. These free-range birds aren't like the industrialized or the birds that are in the barns where that whole barn is run off of computers. With these birds, I have to know exactly what their water situation is, what their feed situation is. And if it's raining, I have to go out there at 3 in the morning and put them up. This isn't something where the automatic curtains will go up and then they'll be fine. You have to spend a lot of time with them and know what's going on at all times. You have to know what the weather's going to be. The feed mill is closed on Saturdays and Sundays, so I can't run out of feed on a Saturday and starve them on Sunday. So you really have to know exactly what's going on at all times. Everything has to be perfect for them to survive. I do what I do because I like the end product. I like the turkey and chicken that we're producing. I like the look on the chef's face when you show up with something new, or even the chicken that I've been bringing him for 3 years and he says, that's the best chicken I've ever had. I think this is the Bentley or Porsche or Ferrari of turkeys. This is the best of the best. So that kind of keeps me going.
The great thing about that particular segment is that you can see just how much personality turkeys have. They're so funny looking. They look like little dinosaurs, and when they kind of come up to the camera, they're incredibly curious and funny animals. So that was a great segment to be able to share with you. And I'm gonna get started on my marinade for my pork tenderloin. And I'm using pork tenderloin because Missouri raises a ton of pork. This also really lends itself to this particular type of a marinade because it's gonna soak up all of that wonderful flavor. And we're gonna start off with 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And don't worry about taking notes because all of these recipes are available at feastmagazine.com. Just go to the Feast TV section of the website and you'll find the information there. I also have a little bit of rice wine vinegar. This is going to add a tart element. This is my fried chili paste. You can also use chili oil. This is mirin, which is a sweetened cooking wine that adds a really beautiful sweetness to the dish. And this is dark honey. It's going to add some complexity along with that sweet caramely flavor. And my next additions are going to be garlic, of course, fresh ginger, and also a little bit of lime juice. Alrighty. You want to cut your tenderloin thinly, probably about 1/4 of an inch. It's going to cook really, really fast, and it's designed to just be small little tender pieces on top of this grain bowl. So we're just slicing through this guy. Then I'm going to put it in the marinade. Our next stop is at Paradise Locker Meats. It is out near Kansas City, and the Fantasma family, yes, that is their name, has been at the helm of this processing plant for a number of years. So let's head out there and meet them now. So I'm standing here in Paradise Locker Meats with Louis Fantasma, who has the most fantastic last name, I think, ever, seriously. And you're gonna take us inside to see how this operates.
Yeah, we're gonna take a tour of the plant. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
All right,
Let's go.
Let's go.
You'll be a Paradise employee for the day. How about that?
I'm looking forward to it. And I know you're gonna make me put on a hairnet.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to take you back and show you where to hang all the carcasses.
Perfect.
So this is our age cooler, and what we do is once the animals chill and bring them into here, and all the carcasses are in here and staged for processing.
And you bring a lot of people through this facility.
Yes.
And why is that valuable to you? Why do you want people to see how this happens?
Well, I think the meat industry in general is very closed door, and I think we in general need to have more of a glass wall policy. There's a lot that goes into what we do, and from a sanitation to food safety standpoint, and so we take the opportunity to bring people through and to really educate people on what we do and help people connect more with where their food comes from.
It's an interesting place to be, and it almost feels kind of reverent in a way to be around these animals because you show respect for those animals all the way from
Absolutely.
being in the field to when they nourish your body.
Yep.
And this is a very important part of that process.
Yeah, it sure is. It's not an easy business. It's there's a lot to it with all the USDA regulations and a lot of responsibility in producing safe food, and so it's definitely quite a task. And this is
is a family business. You run this with your parents?
Yeah, absolutely. We purchased the business in '95. I've been helping my dad from the time he said, hey, I need your help, but I can't pay you. And I helped clean the shop at night to now I run the entire facility. But all of us are here, my brother and my mom and my dad.
I acquired the business in 1995. I worked for a meat company in Kansas City for about 17 years and decided to do my own thing, right? A lot of people now see the value in locally raised, so our company is growing because of people wanting local products. So the farmers are bringing in all their products, we're processing them, so it's important that we do everything right to make sure that they get the quality they're looking for. We're trying to put the best product out on the plate.
What we really strive for is really have the top quality pork that there is, and I can guarantee the best quality pork comes through this plant as far as the entire country is concerned. So this is heaven.
We're at paradise.
Yes,
And now this is
absolutely,
heaven.
right. So this is our dry age cooler. It takes moisture out, intensifies the flavors, increases tenderness, and a lot of different things.
Does it have the same impact on pork that it does on beef?
It does. It intensifies that pork flavor. It really increases the consistency, I think, across the board, because animals will vary, animal to animal. And dry aging pork, I think it really just evens out the quality and really makes a consistent product at the end. It's definitely something unique that we do.
Wow, that's really cool. So how do you decide what products you want to make to sell in your store?
Well, we figure out what people want to buy. But bottom line, it's raised right. It's raised more responsibly. The quality is super important to us, and it has been for the 20 years we've been in business.
And the store is full of goodies. It really is a meat paradise. I mean, you can get like all these beautiful things in that store.
We try to offer unique things that you can't find everywhere, right? And that makes it worth the trip. It's not like we're in the most prime location in the metropolis of Trimble, Missouri. So the carcasses are brought in here and dropped down on these tables where they're broken apart. And then the pieces get smaller as everything goes this way.
All the scraps that you see being cut off, those are going to be ground up for dog food. The skins are used to make leather, so nothing goes to waste that comes into this plant.
So once the meat gets cut, then basically it comes down the belt, and we do all of our bagging, boxing, and labeling. This is our finished product cooler here.
You just love pulling that cord.
Yeah, I do.
Buy it online, or you can come here to Trimble, Missouri.
That's right.
To paradise.
That's right.
So I've moved over to the stove while you were visiting the folks at Paradise Locker Meats. It's fun to see these family-run companies not only, survive, but thrive and grow, and that's exactly what they're doing, and it's because their work is impeccable. They do an amazing job. Okie doke. My onions are now in my skillet. I want to cook these relatively slowly because I want to caramelize them. I also have my farro going. I'm going to go ahead and saute my shiitake mushrooms. Now I'm going to cook my baby kale. They're going to cook really fast, and they're going to cook down to nothing. So while I do this, let's head to 17th Street Barbecue in Southern Illinois. You're about to meet one of the legends in the barbecue circuit.
You know, I grew up with barbecue as a young child. I can remember standing in my crib, my dad outside barbecuing. I knew what was going on because I could smell the smoke. You know, I feel very fortunate that our family has had a barbecue sauce for over 100 years. It was always my dad's dream to be able to have a barbecue place and to be able to sell that sauce. After my father passed away, my mother made and sold that sauce 1 gallon at a time. That helped provide for the 5 kids that was at home during that period of time. In my own mind, I know that he's very happy. You know, I kind of fulfilled a dream of his. See, I'm actually a dental technician by trade. I make prosthetic appliances for dentists. And I started in that business in 1962. In 1985, I bought what is now 17th Street. We would barbecue and have chicken fries, fish fries, that type of thing, have parties in the parking lot. But I did that to make the bar business good. And it worked very well. I actually didn't get into selling the barbecue until 1994 in order to go into it full time and try to make a living at selling barbecue. The magic about barbecue is it's kind of complex, but yet it's kind of very simple. And the magic part of it, preparing it and putting it on, this type of thing, is a very simple method. But the magic happens be a combination between the smoke, the amount of heat, the amount of time, and I'm going to tell you the dry rubs, which we refer to ours as a magic dust. We cook at a low temperature. My magic numbers are 210 degrees up to 225. I don't cook hot and fast. We're low and slow. And what we'll do is I go down one side and I'll give them a dusting because they will get 3 coats before it's a finished product. They'll get 3 coats of this. I don't rub it in, as they call it, a rub. And the heavier you put this on, the crustier it will be. Those are ready. I will go out into the firebox and put some wood on, and then they will start the cooking process. My friend told me about these barbecue contests, and I had never heard of one before. After checking them out and going to visit one, I thought, wow, this is it. And at that time, we thought, let's put a team in it. Make a long story short, in 1990, we were fortunate enough to win the World Grand Championship in Memphis in May. That was in our 5th try at a contest. And then the rest of it's history. We were fortunate enough to win 4 world champions and 3 world grand champions. So I've been very fortunate, very lucky, and the barbecue gods they've graced me. This happens to be wild cherry. My dad cooked with it, but he would cook it down and make coals out of it. Then I'll take and put this in. I'll gently lay that in there, but you can cook with any wood. Pecan is great, has a nice nutty flavor to it, earthy. All woods work, just how much you want to use of that wood to the flavor profile that works for you. You know, one of the great things about barbecue and the big connection between everyone is it's something that we can identify with. I always say that it's about friends and family and the love thereof. There's no barrier, no ethnic background, no religion, no nothing, and it makes no difference what your lot in life is. We're cooking barbecue. I come in and I'll give them what I call 2 light coats. See, I went nice and even all the way around there, so that no matter where they happen to bite, they're going to be able to get the full flavor of that rib. That you got full flavor. It's all about flavor. At the same time, you should be able to take this. If you have to use a knife to cut your ribs, I didn't do my job. See this nice pink meat as it's coming through here, how it glistens. That's still the collagen that's in that meat, hasn't been cooked out, cooked to death. What I want is you to be able to bite that off the bone and you see your teeth print. That's when it's perfectly cooked. People ask me all the time, how come barbecuers are always so friendly? First off, they're proud of what they do. They've came up with it and it's their idea. That's what makes all of us be able to be in the barbecue business, but each one of us be a little bit different. I always say if it works, there's no perfect exact way to do it, but whatever works for you, your friends, your family, then that's perfect. And that's the way it ought to be.
Mike has made an indelible mark on American cooking and barbecue specifically. He is not only incredibly talented, but you can tell by the segment that he is a wonderful, wonderful person, and his daughter Amy works side by side with him down there at 17th Street. So I love that story. Now, all our veggies are finished and they're off to the side. We are going to go ahead and cook our pork, which has been marinating. I'm going to stand here bathing in the steam of this wonderful dish, turning over my pork and making sure that nothing gets overcooked in this process. And while I do that, let's head to Kansas City and get behind the scenes at the American Royal. When you talk about barbecue competitions, this one is at the top. And we had a chance to talk with one of the judges and hear what they're actually looking for during the competition. Let's head there now.
Well, this is the biggest barbecue contest in the United States, probably in the world actually. There's 2 contests. Today's was an invitational, which means you had to win a championship or a contest. Tomorrow's is open. In other words, if you think you can cook barbecue, and you're welcome. This is a meat contest, and there's very specific things they're looking for. I love ribs. When you bite a rib, if the meat falls off, it's overcooked. If the meat doesn't fall off and you have to chew on it, it's undercooked. You want to take a bite, it needs to come off clearly, and the bone needs to go wet to dry like that. What makes the difference between a champion and an also-ran could be 1/10 of a point.
When I pulled mine out of the thing is, when I pulled mine out of the box, it fell apart. So I knew it was going to be. Yeah, no, that's good.
Okay, when we grade, we don't grade against the 5 or 6 things you're eating. You grade on each one separately, and you can't go back. When you're done, you're done. The scale is 1 to 9. I can have a rib that's a 6 or a 7. The person across from me gave this rib a 9, and I gave it a 7. Mine had broken and tasted different. When on a rib, they'll take 6 racks of rib and pick out 6 they give to the judges. Again, it's a matter of inches. After the meats, they had beans, potatoes, vegetables, and desserts. I'm not a dessert hound per se, and I love chocolate. But no, the desserts were so clever. One of them had a marzipan hamburger. What it takes to do this. These people have at least $1,000 to $2,000 minimum invested in equipment, plus entry fees, meat. I mean, to get a good chunk of brisket is $60. So this is a hobby you have to love.
Our grand champion winning $10,000, a Yeti cooler, and a beautiful trophy, the Smokin' Hills!
You know, we didn't do as well as we wanted to on the Invitational, but you know, it's barbecue. We got tomorrow, we got the open contest. We're gonna turn around and try to do our best tomorrow.
This is barbecue. Some of our favorite teams got calls. Actually, one of our most favorite teams, the Smokin' Hills, won the whole thing. We were okay in pork ribs and we were okay in brisket, 37. Out of 187 teams, that's not bad.
I feel good. You get what you deserve, man. The ultimate decision when you turn it in is out of your hands. Chicken was pretty good. It was 29th in chicken and 98th in ribs. I think that's what it was.
We'll put our fighting face on for tomorrow, and we'll go out and we'll try to do our best tomorrow.
No more barbecue. Till 4 o'clock in the morning. It is what it is, and we had a good time, and we wouldn't change anything that we did. So we'll cook the same way tomorrow.
That's the crazy thing about barbecue. You kind of get addicted when you win, and when you lose, you go home, you try to figure out what you did wrong, and you get right back in the game. Still have tomorrow, the Open. We'll be up against 618 teams tomorrow. You know, hopefully we can percentage-wise finish better.
So when we shot that segment, I actually had the opportunity to go through the training to become an American Royal Judge, which took a good part of a day, and you had to take an oath when you were finished, which is really pretty fun. Look it up, you'll find all the details. All right, we are at the end of our episode, and I'm about ready to assemble this grain bowl. As you can see, all of my elements are finished, and all I have to do is put everything together. I decided, after we cut to the last segment, that I wanted to make a quick reduction from the sauce that was in the pan because it just smelled so good. So I just let it stay on the heat, and I cooked it down, and you can see it's just kind of turned into this wonderful silky sauce. Now I'm gonna break open my 6-minute eggs, and these quite literally are 6 minutes that you wanna cook them because I am looking for kind of a custardy yolk. I'm going to sprinkle on top just a little bit of chives and some cilantro. I'm gonna grab myself a fork and give this a try. The marinade is sweet and hot and salty. It's delicious, and it really soaks right into that farro. I got a little bit of onion in that bite, and the sweetness of that onion was a perfect way to offset the heat from the marinade. Yum. I'm gonna stand here and devour this. Thank you for joining me in this episode of our Best of season. I'll see you next time.